The United Kingdom will host the Conference of Parties or COP26 United Nations Climate Change Conference from October 31st to November 12th. This event will see leaders from more than 190 countries, thousands of negotiators, researchers, and citizens coming together to strengthen a global response to the threat of climate change. This year marks the 26th Conference of Parties. The conference comes months after the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change published its assessment report on Earth's climate, highlighting heat waves, droughts, extreme rainfall, and sea level rise in the coming decades.
So the main agenda before the climate conference, this one, which is happening in Glasgow from next Monday, is about finalizing what are known as rules and procedures of the Paris Agreement. As you know, the Paris Agreement was finalized in 2015, and there are supposed to be rules that will govern its implementation, and those rules have also to be finalized. And these were supposed to be finalized by 2018, but most of it has been done. But there are some issues that have remained because countries have not agreed on those particular issues. So the main agenda before the COP would be to finalize the rules and procedures of this meeting of the Paris Agreement, so that the implementation of Paris Agreement continues smoothly. Carbon markets are mechanisms wherein trading of carbon credits is or emissions trading is allowed. It facilitates the trading of emissions between countries, within countries, and that sort of mechanism, it existed in the previous architecture of Kyoto Protocol as well, and it is there in Paris Agreement as well. So they are now trying to define the rules that will govern those carbon markets, and those rules have to be finalized at this meeting. So that's the main agenda. The net zero discussion has been going on for a few years now. What net zero means is a state wherein a country's total emissions are actually compensated by the absorptions of greenhouse gases, and also by physical removal of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. Greenhouse gases, mainly carbon dioxide, but also there are certain other greenhouse gases which get emitted. And these are the ones that are causing global warming and leading to climate change. So one way to limit this is to reduce your emissions. Net zero, therefore, refers to a state wherein a country's total emissions, so say it's 100 million tons, is compensated by its total absorptions through forest sinks, and the amount that it's able to remove from the atmosphere. So what is being asked of all the countries is to identify a particular year somewhere around middle of this century, by which they hope to become carbon neutral, or go net zero. As of now, some about 70 plus countries have already signed up to a net zero target for 2050. It includes many prominent emitters, including the European Union, including the United Kingdom, Germany, the United States. Even China has signed up for a net zero target, not for 2050, but for around 2060. There are reservations to this net zero target from some developing countries, including India. Lots of other developing countries are also resisting this attempt to force, a net zero target on all the countries. They have their own very valid reasons for doing so. We are likely to see a lot of discussions happen on net zero at this COP. During preparatory meetings and during the run-up to the conference, we have already, net zero has been grabbing most of the headlines. So a lot of it would spill over into the COP negotiations. So these climate change conferences, as you said, have been happening for more than 25 years. This is the 26th COP. So since somewhere around 1990s, how have they helped, apart from, the fact that they have, brought climate change on the top of the global agenda, that certainly they created this international architecture through which global emissions can be reduced. So they have produced two architectures till now. One of them was Kyoto Protocol, which came into being in 1997. The other is the Paris Agreement, the successor agreement to Kyoto Protocol. Kyoto Protocol actually died last year, in the sense it expired last year. And now Paris Agreement has taken its place. So these two international agreements have been delivered by this same very process of climate change meetings. A lot of climate action that we see being taken by countries across the world, and most of the countries, and not just countries, even different sectors, business, lots of almost every sector is now taking actions to reduce its carbon footprint. And a lot of these actions have been driven by what has come out from these meetings. So in a way, they have actually galvanized a lot of action on climate change, in the absence of which probably emissions would have continued to rise, or at least would not have slowed down to the extent that they have now. The deviation from the business as usual. But as you say, we are still not out of the woods. We are not likely to be out of the woods for a fairly long time. And as the recent IPCC report also suggested, the 1.5 degree rise in temperature is likely to be achieved within a decade, or 12 years or 15 years from now, somewhere around 2040. Probably it will be achieved. So the climate crisis continues to become more and more deep. It continues to worsen, despite these conferences which have initiated some action. But still, this is the only forum, this is the best hope that this world has. I mean, this particular process, the meetings that take place every year, where countries decide on what action to take against climate change. This continues to remain probably the best bet that the world has to fight climate change. So that ways, it has a lot of utility still.